Smart goal setting. Have a look at your boxes. There you go, we got a scoreboard on this one. So this is done on how quickly you are. Next one. Okay, so that's good with the phones now. That's the last thing. So they're good to go. So the thing with smart goal setting is there are some different definitions to where you get through. As in that second one, a lot of you went for attainable, right? As opposed to agreeable. So as long as you get the factors in, then as long as you remember it kind of how you remember it, and it has each of the factors in there, then it's okay kind of thing. But if you go with attainable, then how else are we going to get that it's agreed upon within yourselves and your coaches and anyone else significant around? But when we talk about goal setting, this is a definition from a research paper. So an objective or aim of the action. And I talk a lot to people about, so we have this goal that we want to get to, that we want to achieve. But we need to break it down into what does that mean week to week? What does that mean month to month, day to day? And then even more than that, what habits and behaviors are going to make me be able to achieve the goal that I want to get to? What it does is it outlines a plan for you. So we're going to go into a planning stage next, but goal setting outlines a plan of behaviors and targets maybe to get to where we want to go. And we'll get to the 3 different types of goals that we can have that each in isolation may help you, but actually it's when they collectively come together is when you can do some really, really cool things and get towards your goal. So these are the ones that were described in that Kahoot. So specific means that to you and to anybody that you need to speak to it with, their teammates or coaches or whoever, people know what it means. People know what you want to achieve by it, and it's just really clear for everyone involved. When you go on to measurable, you know, that's kind of the same as attainable, so you could argue that those things, but measurable means that you'll be able to know if or if not you do achieve it. There's clear boundaries in terms of what that looks like. Now A, as I mentioned, agreed upon, so people that are important to you and your development and your career, making sure you all come together and have those discussions and that evaluation as well. Realistic, so within the availability of resources, knowledge and time. And then time-based, so we're not just saying we want to do something, but actually by when, and then we can then break it down and work backwards from there. One of the things with goal setting is it allows us not only to have a clear plan of what we need to do to get to where we want to go, it also enables our discipline to do those things that will enable us to get there. But also it allows us to maintain our motivation and increase our confidence on the way. We'll get to a slide in a few minutes here, that if you work backwards and you've got weekly targets or monthly targets as you're going towards a more longer term goal, you can, as we call it, fuel your fire. So if you imagine like a campfire, if you throw on the biggest tree trunk you can find, chances are that fire is going to go out. But if you keep putting on little sticks, that fire is going to keep burning and grow. So we call it fuel your fire. So if we can celebrate the victories and smash in the targets week by week, day by day, then altogether that's going to add up to where we want to get to. And that increases our motivation and our confidence. It also increases our focus. So we can really see, like I keep saying, day to day, week to week, what is it that we need to do? Okay? Got a cool video here that explains some of it. So there is some information in this video that will go in some of your boxes. The goal setting ones are typically all together. I think they might be on just different pages. Definitely process and outcome performance.
Goal setting is a set of skills required to identify specific long and short-term targets and evaluate progress within a specific time frame. Regularly setting and evaluating performance goals can help athletes to focus, stay motivated and feel more in control.
Okay, so we've got the boxes that are on page 1, right? So the bottom right's got the process, performance and outcome, and then you've got the box on the left as well. Okay, so I'll go through and kind of freeze frame in here some information that you might want, as we went through quite quickly. There's also the top 2 boxes on the next page. Yeah. For some reason, it's not. It's one of the tech issues that's happening. I don't know why. Do you want me to read it out? Yeah. Process goal on here, it's got focuses on the technique of performance rather than the overall result. And obviously you can apply that to your own sport, your own events. Performance goals compare the individual's performance with their own previous performances. And don't take any notice of the examples in this one because they're not actually very good. But again, you can apply that to your own sport. Outcome goals focus on the result of a particular event. Outcome goals focus on the result of a particular event. And so in this video you'll get a lot of the box that says the importance. You could get a lot from this video as well as what we've already spoken about.
The date was November 29th, 1980. The game was Duke versus Stenson. No one remembers it as one of the red-letter days in basketball history, but the Blue Devils' 67-49 victory that night was win number 1 at Duke and win number 74 in the career of 33-year-old Mike Krzyzewski, an early marker on a journey of epic proportions. 12 ACC regular season championships.
Duke wins the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. The crowd is on the floor. This place is bedlam, folks.
13 conference tournament titles.
The Duke Blue Devils have won the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament Championship, 79-53 over the North Carolina Tar Heels.
11 Final Four appearances.
Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots,
4 national championships.
The Destiny Darlings have done it. The Duke Blue Devils have won their first ever national basketball championship.
A career headlined by numbers.
Mike Krzyzewski has won his 500th game. Krzyzewski's 600th win, 700th victory. 903 is in the books. History is made.
Now has a new milestone.
Mike Krzyzewski has accomplished something that no other NCAA Division I coach ever has. He just capped off the 1,000th victory in an already monumental coaching career.
Coach K's goal was never to become the winningest Division I coach of all time, or to reach the 1,000 victory milestone, but goals have played an important role in his Hall of Fame career.
Well, I think goal setting is very important, and as far as achievement goes, individually and collectively. And I think you want high and realistic goals, and you want intermediate goals sometimes to go to a long-reaching goal. For me, all the goals that I try to have are within a season, because you're in the moment, you know. And so I've never looked like, well, I'd like to win X number of ACC championships. You don't do that. I mean, how could you even think that? Or NCAA championships? It's arrogant goal setting. You know, you should be humble and hungry and in the moment with the group that you have. And then I like sharing and having goals with that particular unit. Now, I know for my team this year, one of our goals was to win 1,000 games. You know, to win that game. Well, I told them, I know that's a goal, but that would mean we have 17 wins. So that's an intermediate goal. You know, like, what's that bigger goals? And then you also set goals in how, for an individual kid on the team, like, I'd like to see this happen for him. And sometimes you sit down with that kid and talk to him about it, and sometimes you don't. You just, with the staff, like, let's try to get him to this spot in a couple weeks, things like that. But goal setting is huge, and I've done that my whole life.
Does anyone want to share from that bottom left box, so the importance of goal setting? Anyone want to share what they took from that video or what we've spoken about so far? Let's go for 3 points. Yes.
Like if you set goals that are like too unrealistic, you can do that.
Okay, good. So maintaining your motivation from setting realistic goals. Good. Yeah.
It gives you like a pathway to follow.
Excellent, yeah. So it gives a pathway to follow. It develops a clear plan of how you can get to where you want to go. Good. One more. Yes.
It allows you to like continue your progress, like just like not give up basically.
Yeah, no, great. You're able to track your progress, see where you are, see what we need to do to get to where we want to go. Good. So how might we do this when we first start off? So this is something called performance profiling. And the pictures aren't great, but I'll try and describe what's going on. So on this left one here, we've got, I would call it like physical and technical skills. So this is for a golfer. So we've got like short irons, long irons, driving, putting, etc. as we go around. So they are technical and physical skills. And then what you do is you go from rating it 1 at the bottom to 10 on the outside. And the scale that this person has done is useless to professional. So, you know, if I think that they've got like an 8 on short irons, 7 on long irons. Okay, but then you look at putting, you've gone down to a 3. So by doing this in a visual form, we're able to really hone in on the aspects of our sport or our performance that we think we can make the most strides in. And that doesn't mean that the ones that are 8 out of 10 we're not pushing for, because there's always that extra we can go to. But by doing this yourself and by doing this with important people like the coaches around you and potentially teammates maybe, then you're able to get a really good vision, like over the top of your performance about what it is that you want to work on to get where you want to go. When we talk about this in psychological terms, we can do exactly the same thing. So over here we've got all different psychological terms that we spoke about earlier. So focus, motivation, anxiety, confidence, etc. I can't actually read it too well, but you know, it doesn't have to be all the way around, but we can identify 10 to 12 different psychological topics or skills that we want to master, we want to improve on, and then we can rate how we are at the minute. Again, and the ones which we pick out are either the most important or we feel like we want to go into next, we can then seek out the help from people to get where we want to go. So it's a really kind of visual tool that we can sit down and break down our performance from all the four corners of development and see where we want to go. This also comes into agreeing the goals with the people that are significant with you. So obviously you take control for your development, but you're also mentored by coaches. And so by sitting down with them and going through these things and agreeing where you are and having those discussions if you don't agree, which is okay as well, then you're able to, again, get that bigger picture and more clearer picture of where you are. You're able to maintain motivation as you hit different milestones. If you do this periodically, like every 3 months, every 6 months or whatever, you're able to see those improvements and discuss those improvements. You're also able to see a visual form of feedback and evaluation, and therefore you can adapt your further training sessions for that. And like I said, this can be done in all four corners of the development model as well. So this here was a team that I coached over in America called Napoli. And so we've got different definitions for what it was. This was obviously in America. And they're slightly different. So we gave the definitions at the top, and what we had was each individual player would go through this. So current ability and long-term goal, they're 15. So most of them, their long-term goal was to play in college, which is at 18. So by wanting to get to the long-term goal, what does that mean? And we broke it down into 3 steps. And you can do this as well. You've got a stairway. So we know where we want to go long-term, but then we can break it down into shorter-term, medium-term goals. And from this was a good setup. So what we did was we then paired them with somebody else. So then they had to have this discussion about where they wanted to go, what that meant they had to be doing. But it also, we revisited it, so it kept them accountable as well. So I could check in with my partner and see how she was doing as we move forward. Furthermore, after this, we then went into like the habits and behaviours that they wanted to do that would allow them to achieve these goals. And we broke it down into physical, technical, tactical, psychological, and social as well. We broke it down into all of the different aspects of performance, and then they chose 3 things to focus on for that season, for that 3 months. And so it's just another way of thinking about it. So we always want to have these open discussions with people as we set our own goals. So then they're agreed upon. We're also able to get the feedback. But by doing the performance profiling here, and then potentially looking at these, it gives a graphic representation of it, and we can really be clear about where we are and where we want to go and how we're going to do that. Here's some common mistakes with goal setting. So setting too many too soon. So that would be unrealistic if we go back to the SMART model that we had. Failing to